going to start with a presentation now, and you all know Girma, so he needs no introduction. And he is the one man who's running the show from our side of the initiative here in Ethiopia. So the floor is all yours, Girma.
Thank you very much. So I would have a very brief presentation, and I would describe what we are doing. I'm not going to discuss why we are doing it because I think Nick presented it in a very interesting way. So I think there is a big team working on this initiative in Ethiopia. Gashaw, he couldn't make it. He's back in DC. Jonas, where is Jonas? Okay, Jonas is there. Wenishet is our research assistant. Salam is there. She is the one who is sending the message and curating the data. And Nick is there to guide us in this particular activity. So our innovation is a smart Sesame marketing. I mean, it sounds really interesting, but it has only two components, which I will explain later. And it's part of the global. It's part of the global value chains, Sesame and oilseed value chain in Ethiopia that Nick mentioned. Okay, so again, I need to tell you why we picked Sesame, and you all know, probably except some of us, you all know that there was a very recent study, 2019, by some researchers, and it was a study which covered 44 sub-Saharan African countries. And Ethiopia, along with Nigeria and Tanzania, comprises half of sub-Saharan Africa's agricultural potential. Okay, Ethiopia, Tanzania, and Nigeria are the top three countries. Agriculture is still very important to these countries, and they do have most of the potential. And an empirical analysis by colleagues at IFPRI, I don't remember his first name. Anyway, Benfica and James Turlow in 2017, they did a study, and they assumed that all value chains, it's an assumption, they assume that all value chains have equal importance to the economy, and they tried to see the potential contribution of these value chains to different economic outcomes. And as you can see, oilseeds happen to be the most important value chains, and Sesame is included in this value chain. So that's why we picked Sesame. We didn't just pick it because we like Sesame. So it is the leading oil crop and the second most exported agricultural commodity next to coffee. And this country of ours makes around 2.6% of the global sesame production, according to FAO stat. It's an old data, sorry for that. And sesame contributes about 2.3% of the grain production in the country, with a total production of about 20,000 tons in 2018-2019 production season. And the main growing areas are the lowlands of northwest Ethiopia. I hope I do have. I don't have the map. Anyway, 80% of the sesame is produced in northwestern Ethiopia. 80%. So I think some of you mentioned that you wanted to know what are the key challenges of the sesame value chain. I think some of them sound generic, but some of them are quite specific to sesame. So the first one is weather variability. These were actually mentioned by farmers and key stakeholders. Some of you are here in our initial workshops. So weather variability is one of them. Farmers cannot tell, the distribution of rainfall, and they have no idea as to what pattern the temperature follow. And another one is low adoption of improved technologies. Yes, there are limited improved technologies for sesame. Colleagues from Gondar Agricultural Research Center might correct me, but that's what we know. And there's very low adoption of those technologies. And there is limited access to finance and infrastructure in northwestern Ethiopia. If you know that area, it is very inaccessible. And there is high production and transaction or marketing cost. well, the transaction cost is related to the lack of infrastructure, but at the same time, it's related to the fact that farmers usually act on their own, individually. They don't act collectively. So if a farmer has 2 quintals, a quintal is 100 kgs unit. If he has 2 quintals, he carries his 2 quintals and he goes to the market. And another one, if he has like 10, 15, he does the same thing. So you don't usually see them aggregating their produce and taking it to the market. So the transaction cost they incur is quite high. And the lack of information or this asymmetry of market information, also empowers the brokers, and they tend to charge the farmers quite heavily, and that's part of the transaction cost. And the other problem that was indicated by farmers and other actors was that there is low crop diversity in the sesame growing areas. You don't see a lot of varieties, and some of the varieties, especially in northwestern Ethiopia, they were brought in from Sudan, and nobody can tell the pedigree of those varieties. Again, Gondar research colleagues, you can say something about this. There is no sesame seed system. I don't know whether we have established now, but we didn't have it a couple of years ago. In fact, this is not only unique to sesame, but this applies to all oil crops in Ethiopia. And there is heavy government intervention. We were just talking to our E6 colleagues, and before 2021, it was completely, sesame was transacted or marketed through ECX, and ECX is a public institution. So what are we trying to do? In order to address the key challenge, we cannot address all the challenges apparently, but in order to address the key challenges, we identified 2 interventions that would have a broader impact, or that would be able to, cater for the different challenges. So the first one is digital information service, which includes market information and weather data. We had an application, very well designed, and which was supposed to send out market and weather information, but because of the civil war which is happening in that part of the country, we couldn't use our application. And the application was based on web scraping for weather data, because we can't afford to pay for weather data. You know how expensive it is. But we couldn't use the application because of lack of internet services. So now we are sharing only market information with farmers. So those of you who were in the initial part of the designing, I hope you are not disappointed. You understand why we are doing what we are doing. And the other one is collective action. By the way, when we say market information, it's not about price. We work on 7 variables, 7, not 4, 7 variables. So it is about current price, quantity demanded, quantity supplied, a proportion of the amount brought to the market that was sold, market shocks, and potential buyers in the market if they are different from what farmers are familiar with. And the collective action was a series of training. We did it in 3 phases. We gave a training every month for 3 months. And I need to tell you about the numbers. We trained 520 farmers, randomly selected, which were assigned to the collective action and digital information service treatment arm, and they were trained 3 times, every month. And the market information is being sent for 1,040 households, 1,040 households. And we have been sending this information since May. So we are planning to keep on sending it until the end of the year, although we have to do the end-of-line survey sometime in the next 4 or 5 weeks, because we need to see what impact we have brought about, at least intermediate impact. We need to report some. And so the objective is measuring the effect of digital information services and collective action on sesame productivity, the average price they receive, and farm income at farm household level. These are the key parameters we are going to focus on when we assess the impact. So the locations are Central Gondar and West Gondar, and we are working in 4 districts, such as Machaho, Sagade, Matamma, and Mirawar Machaho. I think Jonas, you might remind me the number of villages in each woreda, but I need to tell you that we selected the village proportionately based on the coverage or the importance of sesame in terms of acreage in these districts, because some of the districts, like 75–80% of the farm households grow sesame. So we use that as a weight in selecting the village. So to tell you the 3-month assignment, we have 520 households who are receiving market information only, and we have 520 households who receive market information and who have already received training on collective action. And there are 520 households who are going to be our controls. We are not sending them anything, and we are not training them. Okay? So in total, we are working with 1,560 households, and we do have a baseline there on those households, and we are going to do the end line in the next months or so. So we are actively working with Gondar Agriculture Research Center, District Office of Agriculture, and the development agents. In fact, the legwork is being done by these colleagues. We need to be very grateful. I'm very grateful to Gondar Agriculture Research staff, Office of Agriculture staff at district level, and DS at Kabale level. They have been helping us quite significantly. And the initial state of the designing depended very much on the wisdom of colleagues from ECX, the private sector, the initial stakeholder workshop. We are very grateful for that, and we do appreciate the information we get from ECX. So what outcomes do we expect? Because of the collective action, we expect a reduction in transaction costs, and we expect increase in average output price per unit of sesame. And the digital information service, we expect that it will help farmers improve their sesame yield, and they will be able to increase their cash income from their sesame production. And because of spillover effect, they might be able to increase their crop production more. I mean, because sesame is a cash crop. If they sell it and if they get more, probably they might be able to pay for more input, and that would help them to increase their productivity. So we are combining weather and market information, and we expect a pronounced level of impact at farmers to look. So the partnerships, ICADA and IFPRI identified and bundled the components of the innovation. We have been working together since the very day. And Gondar Agriculture Research Center, District Office of Agriculture, the DS at the village level facilitated the implementation of the experiment. The Bureaus of Agriculture, cooperative promotion agencies, Ethiopian Community Exchange, regional agricultural research institutes, Ethiopian Telecom are expected to play key roles in scaling up the innovations, provided that would come with positive impact. And we hope that we'll be able to show that these interventions have positive impact on household. Well, I think the challenge is quite clear to all Ethiopian colleagues. But there was very limited mobility to and from the project site because of the ongoing civil war. We are still taking a risk, but we have to do it. We want to do it. Otherwise, some of the areas are becoming virtually inaccessible. But we are going to do it. We are going to be stubborn, and we are going to conduct our line survey as well. The opportunity is in relation to what we're doing. The growing availability of telecommunication services is an important opportunity, because we hope that once they see the evidence to what extent these digital services can improve farm income, I hope our leaders would be able to invest in digital services so that farmers would be able to get market information and weather data. So the factors and the conditions that would affect the adoption of the innovations. Well, we need to have a convincing scientific evidence on the impact of these innovations or this bundle of innovation, and the reliability of the data collected and information available for farmers. Just because you are establishing a digital information service, doesn't mean that you'd be able to help farmers. Make sure that the data you are generating is really precise. I mean, we do have experience in this country. And I mean, one of the challenges we had when it comes to market information system was that, the information collected was not. So we need to make sure that whatever information we are collecting is precise. And the flexibility of the cooperative registration law is something we need to have in order to encourage collective action. Because the current policy has a minimum number of members to register as a cooperative. And that's a big number. So if we want farmers to act collectively, I think we need to have a very flexible framework that empowers farmers. And affordability of telecommunication services. We hope that it continues to go down, the cost of telecommunications, and farmers will be able to afford. So when it comes to the timeline, this is something that Nick summarized, but to repeat what said, we had our stakeholder workshops in Gondar and Addis Ababa in October 2022, and then we conducted a scoping study of the sesame value chain. I think this is an interesting report. I'm not saying this because we wrote it, but I learned a lot out of it, so probably you might learn a lot out of it as well. It's available online. We did that in 2022, and then we conducted the baseline survey in November, December 2023, and we started the implementation of the experiment in May 2024. You might ask why we took so much time, but I think the budget comes pretty late in the year, and that is not your fault. That's our. And we are having this stakeholder workshop, this one here in Addis in October, and we are going to start the inline survey at the end of October. And because this 1,560 farm households is going to take us about 4 weeks, so it's going to go up to mid or late November. And we hope that we'll be able to write some reports in December and January. But I haven't put it not to make a very clear promise. But that's the plan. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you so much. And if you have any questions, you are very welcome.